Hi, I'm Zach. I'm from Singapore. This is my first vlog, but you must be wondering, why am I in Vietnam, in Danang then? Well, let's talk about how I got here. But let's run through the flight from Singapore to Danang via Vietjet. Now, this flight was only a 2-hour and 50-minute flight, and thank goodness it is. Not because the flight quality was particularly bad or I felt particularly danger or anything, it just was not very comfortable. The seats on Vietjet are cramped. It's a narrow body aircraft, so you don't really have a lot of sideways space to begin with, which doesn't help because me and my friend are both quite wide individuals. And then the seat spacing between each seat is really tight. So my 177 centimeter tall body, my knees were just touching the front seat, and I'm not that tall. If you're like 6 foot something, you probably feel very cramped on a Vietjet plane. Now, thankfully, this was just a 2-hour and 50-minute flight. If I had a longer flight, 6 hours, 8 hours, I think I might have been pretty screwed. So thankfully it was a very short flight, but if you are planning to fly a very long flight on Vietjet and it's an A321 narrow body plane, good luck. As for customer service, I mean, I didn't talk to a single customer service flight attendant at all because it's a budget airline. Unless you're buying something or you bought food, there is no service to be had. They're polite, that's all I can say. They seem nice, which is great. I only have one comment though about the customer service, and that is that flight attendants' uniforms, the pants, they look kind of bad. And I'm not talking about the flight attendants themselves. They look great, okay? Don't get me twisted. I'm just saying that those shorts just look kind of weird. And as someone who is into design, I'm just not a fan of them. Feel free to disagree with me though, I don't really care. Okay, let's go. Vietjet, on a tight budget, on shorter flights, okay. The landing was comfortable. I got here in one piece safely, which is the most important, and it was a journey. However, if you are flying on a longer haul flight, or you're quite big size and quite tall and you need more space, and you have the budget to afford a better plane, do that. If I have to fly Vietjet and the flight was longer than 5 hours, I think I will struggle. And that concludes the Vietjet airline review section of this video. So what else did I do in my first day in Danang? Well, the first thing we did was just head to like the nearest place near our hotel that served pho. This is a pretty touristy place, considering that when I walked in there was only a white person having lunch with a Chinese person, no Vietnamese people, and not a lot of business. Also, the menus were heavily in English and the prices were heavily touristy. Problem is that our hotel is like near the beach, and what that means is that you end up, well, being a tourist. It's like living on a Vegas strip. We're living in a tourist area, we're gonna pay tourist prices and get tourist food. It was good, it just kinda didn't really impress. Also, our hotel gave free afternoon tea. It sucked, but it was free, it was included, so I had some. We've just checked in the hotel, we had lunch. Gonna head to the gym now because I'm hanging out with people that like working out, and I do like to work out. I have not worked out in like 10 days, and when I don't do any exercise, my brain gets cranky and I don't operate like a normal human. So also, look at the view. That's really quite nice. Communist coffee. Okay, so just came back from the gym. Not a very good gym. So the gym is called the Pig Gym, and it honestly smells like a pig sty. Nasty. Every time someone opened the toilet door, it smelled like piss and shit. I don't recommend it. Also, the bench presses are kind of like on a rail for everyone to look at you. If you were to fail a set, everyone would see, and it will be thoroughly embarrassing. For now, we're gonna shower. My buddies wanna get Mexican food and go to the hotel bar. We got a bowl with beef and rice. I mean, I got beef and rice. They got chicken and rice. But like, it's all right. But it's 9 Singapore dollars for a bowl of beef and rice, which in Singapore would be cheap, but in Da Nang is extremely crazy expensive. Like really, really expensive. And absolutely not worth it. I do not recommend adobo Mexican food. If you want to eat Mexican food, don't eat it in Vietnam. If you want to eat Mexican food, don't eat it in Da Nang. Go to like a big city. Good morning. It's 9:48 a.m. and I'm in a bit of a rush because, well, there is a meal service and it ends at 10. And it ends at 10.
Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit?
Okay, so there's no really need to eat the meal breakfast here. It's just, you know, you paid for it, you kind of want to get it.
Is it Stacy? Is it Becky? Is it Keisha? Is it Ellie? Was it Danny? Is it Marty? Where's the function?
Where the fuck the function? Where the fuck the function?
Today we start the vlog at the end of the day. So we just came back from the gym, which is from a different gym to the one we went yesterday, which was Pig Fitness. That was horrible. This is HT Fitness. There's a bit better equipment. It was cleaner. It didn't smell like absolute sewage. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a thumbs up. Also, it's back day, if you're wondering. But really today, before that, was all about going to a nice scenic place called Marble Mountain. The sun was out-ish, I mean there were still clouds, but it was not so hot that it was difficult to hike, but it was also not so cold that it was uncomfortable and grey, and it was quite a nice day in terms of the weather, for most of the day, which is pretty good. But Marble Mountain is actually a place you really should go if you're here in Da Nang. I really quite like it. So humid though, I just sweat like a bitch. There's like 2 parts to it, 1 ticket for each. It's not a lot of money, you should definitely spend the money. One is to go into the caves, and the caves has a few Buddhas and things to, it's a place of worship. I said my prayers as a Buddhist. But what's really interesting about it is that it has these hell illustrations. That I guess are supposed to scare people to not sin, because hey, if you sin, look, you'll be tortured, you'll be eaten by beasts and animals and punished for your crimes and evil. So it's kind of, I guess, to scare people. But it's really creepy and it really works because it's a real cave and it goes deep into these weird crevices and it's like doom and gloom in little corners, and you have to climb these weird stairs that really are quite difficult to walk down. And then there's this really difficult staircase up to a vantage point from inside the cave, which if you can't really climb stairs well, or you have difficulties going upwards, which is fine, you probably should just save the effort because the vantage point was not worth it. In fact, the climb itself was fun. The vantage point, nah. But the cave is really nice. It's a unique ambiance and a unique vibe. Then apart from that, there was the Marble Mountain part of the Marble Mountain, not the cave, the mountain. This one's a different entrance ticket and you can pay a little bit of extra money if you want to take a lift to the top, but it doesn't really take you all the way to the top, so there's still a bunch of hiking and climbing to be done if you are at the top. So I wouldn't really take the lift unless you're like someone who really struggles with stairs. Because even if you reach the top, you still have to walk some more, which isn't the best. But the thing is, up top there's like a bunch of temples, there's even more Buddhas, which is great because I'm a Buddhist, so it's quite nice to see. The thing is, like, Southeast Asia is more of like heavy on the Mahayana Buddhism. If you look at Thailand, Cambodia, Laos. But the thing is, here in Vietnam, because there was so much Chinese influence and Chinese trade and immigrants, all the Buddhas on this mountain were very Chinese influence. I'm not exactly too sure on the theistic history of Buddhism on every single front. I just know that the way the temple was very Chinese. There were a lot of Chinese characters, and it reminds me of a lot of temples that I've been to in Singapore where it's Chinese descent, or like actually all over China. It's also like playing a game of Black Myth Wukong, which is excellent. Then there's also the fact that but it is a excellent height. Some of the stairs are a little slippery, especially because it was wet and there was a lot of irregular surfaces and difficult marble style faces to climb, but I can't lie, it was actually challenging but not hard. It was just fun, like it was just nice. And making it to the top is absolutely something you should do. The view is very nice. You get to see the ocean, you get to see the waves. It's very peaceful and serene. And some like devilish individual decided that instead of putting railings to help people climb up to the top, they will plant cactus there. So you're gonna end up sticking your hand in it and screwing yourself up, which isn't gonna be very comfortable. But hey, it was a very fun, pleasant, and enjoyable experience. I think the whole view up there, absolutely worth it. And that's pretty much it for today. Also, one more thing before I end the vlog. Why are there so many Korean signs in Vietnam? Like, why is Da Nang in particular so popular with Koreans? And there's nothing wrong with Koreans, you guys are great, alright? I'm just saying it's like unexpected. And I would love to know why.
Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit?
It's so big he has to sit all the way at the end of the beach. That's his share, that's the ocean.
This is the third daily vlog, and you know what they say, 3 times is the charm? Well, after 3 attempts, we have finally found the best gym in Danang. At least that we've tried so far, but I'm pretty confident that this is easily one of, if not the best gym. So the first gym we went was a gym called Pig Gym, which was on vlog 1, and this was a pigsty. The main issue with this gym, apart from the old rusty equipment that honestly was limiting and kind of sucked, like it didn't even have a squat rack, was that, well, it stunk like a pigsty or a pig. That's because there was a sewage leak, and every time the toilet door opened, you could just smell stink coming out. So mid-set, when you're inhaling deep, all you smell and all you breathe in is just poop scent. And the machines were quite limited. The dumbbell selection wasn't that great, the machines were rusty, and there's a good selection of machines, but there wasn't even a single squat rack. There were 3 benches, but no squat rack. And the cable machine was sluggish and stuck. Then there was gym number 2, which is HD Fitness, and this one was a little bit better. There was nicer airflow, no horrible sewage smell across 2 different floors, and there was a decent selection of machines with a squat rack and, you know, some other things going on. But it still lacked like any edge, any specialties, and it lacked having the good machines, like the stuff that you use and you feel like, damn, this really hits just nice with the perfect range of motion. You know when you do a workout session and it has exactly the best possible machine for your body part at that moment because it's on like the S tier of Jeff Nippard's list? That is the type of gym that I want to go to every day. HD Fitness was good, but it was chain and it was still lacking in some things. It lacked enough squat racks, it lacked enough oomph, and the machines just weren't that new, weren't that nice. But day 3, which is today, we went to a gym called Vina Beast. This is a gym that I'm gonna wholeheartedly recommend. Hopefully, if you are in Danang and you need a gym, this is the one you should go to. First, it's on the top floor of a hotel. So I think it's on the 22nd floor, which means absolutely dope views. You get to see out to the ocean, the mountains, the whole city at your fingertips. It is a vibe. There was a bit of a fog and haze, so you can't really see things clearly, but still, it was very calming and therapeutic to work out there because, you know, you don't really look at your phone when you have such a good view. You just kind of look out into the horizon and think about life and wonder what's wrong with you. But then you then go back to your set and you feel amazing. It's great. You don't feel exhausted after the workout because it's airy and well lit and has a great view. Second thing, it was big enough. Now, we've been to 2 other gyms with more surface area, but Unlike those gyms, even though this was the smallest in surface area so far, it's been densely packed. So when I say big enough, I mean big enough as in enough machines, enough things that you actually want. You know, when you go into a gym as a bodybuilder or powerlifter and you know that the owner is one of you, someone who really lives and knows their stuff, because the machines reflect that. They reflect the owner's knowledge, what they kit out, what they spec out. This one, definitely owned by a bodybuilder, because the machine selection was flawless. It was like a Michelin-starred restaurant. It had everything you wanted in a tight space, and it was so densely packed with so many. It's just, of course, you've got your basic machines that you would want, and it doesn't skimp or miss out on any of the basic machines that you will need. So you've got your leg extension, which is a hybrid machine with a quad extension. You got your hip thrust, your standard cable machines, and you got a good number of them. You got a 4-stack, which means 4 people could use the cable machine at the same time. Chef's kiss. And then a ton of benches, a squat rack, and a Smith machine. You know, I wish there was more squat racks, but there is space limitations to this gym. It's literally on the top floor of a building. Then a ton of plates, Olympic plates on a deadlift platform. Admittedly though, that deadlift platform was a little bit small, but I respect it for the space limitations and a small amount of treadmills, so there aren't just a ton of cardio bunnies and wasted space in a bodybuilding gym. You get a bunch of machines that are a little more accessory, a little more niche, a little bit more kind of to the side, but very, very good choices. The ab crunch machine, for example, has a full ab crunch. It's not just a top half ab crunch, your legs come up as well, so it's a full proper crunch where you're using your whole ab, which just feels absolutely amazing. You kind of cosplay an oyster, but it's great. You've got lat raise machine, but the poles are long enough so you can really reach fully and get a full stretch and extension, and it feels absolutely phenomenal. Really nice, smooth feeling machines that are well lubed with good mechanisms, and that feeling when you pull and retract your muscles, it's just satisfying because the machines are good quality choices and well crafted, which is very, very, very nice. And on top of that, it's new, it's clean, it's fresh. It is a very well executed space with cohesive look and just a good vibe, you know. The fact that it's on top of the roof is like a large part of its charm. It's clear, it's big, it's and if you're wondering about the price, a single day entry for tourists is 150,000 dong, which is about 750 Singapore dollars, or about like 6 or 550 US dollars, which is fine. It's pretty standard price for a tourist focused gym in Da Nang. 9 out of 10 would recommend. And that's it for the third day vlog. We literally did nothing else today. We went to like a golf driving range, but like nobody wants to see that.